What's going on, guys? Cameron here, Jacob right next to me, and welcome to our first ever movie review as the Slashers and Superheroes channel. Today we're checking out, or going to talk about, rather, Godzilla Minus One. Now, this movie has been getting a lot of rave and good reviews lately. It's currently sitting at like 98, 97, which is astonishing on Rotten Tomatoes.
hmm
It's crazy that not only do the critics and the audience agree on something, but it's that high. So, like I said, a lot of good stuff coming out of it. A lot of good talk. Everyone's saying that it's in their best movies of 2023, and probably one of the
hmm
best kaiju movies ever. So the expectations were high. Let's just say that walking to the theater today. Um, so we've had a little bit of time to fully grasp on it and you know get our thoughts together. And Jacob, what did you think of the movie?
So, just to say first, I've seen a handful of Godzilla movies. I've seen the '90s one. I don't really remember it though. It's been a while since I saw that one. And then the one with Bryan Cranston, and then a
Yes.
few of the Godzilla versus Kong, Godzilla King of the Monsters, the 2014 Godzilla. I've seen a handful of them,
Mm-hmm.
and I've never been a big Godzilla fan. I've always thought those movies are like cool, like popcorn movies. Like watching having Godzilla punch King Kong and then punching each other back and forth is fun to watch. But it's never been one of those that's like really stuck with me. Like I see it, oh that's cool, and then you forget about it. So, and I've never seen a non-American Godzilla movie. So this is tonight was the first experience with that. And I'll say this: I haven't seen a lot of Godzilla movies, like I said, but this is easily the best Godzilla movie I've seen. This movie was fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, so the big problem with the American Godzilla movies have always been the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like the action has been cool, but when they're on the characters, you're just waiting for it to go back to Godzilla. Like you do not care at all for the human
Yeah.
characters in the
Yeah.
American film. It didn't feel this. It didn't feel that way. It actually felt like not that Godzilla was like an afterthought, but it was kind of like it was like the extra adding to the extra like icing on top kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, the foundation of this movie is a really good story about. I'm not getting into spoilers, but it's about this pilot,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's a really emotional story with good characters. There wasn't any characters in the movie, unlike the American films where you were annoyed by them. Like all the characters were really good.
Yeah, like
So
comedy relief type
yeah, just
characters that you
before getting
see.
into spoilers, yeah, and like before getting into spoilers, yeah, I thought this movie was awesome. It was. I know it's been talked about. It's one of the best movies of the year, and I gotta say, it lived up to the hype, and I agree with that.
Yeah. So I'm opposite of Jacob. So I've never seen any of the other Godzillas. I haven't seen Godzilla King of the Monsters. I haven't seen Godzilla versus Kong. I haven't seen the Bryan Cranston Godzilla. I haven't seen the original Godzilla and the other 34 films that are out. I haven't seen any of them, and so I came in here, just not experiencing a single Godzilla film, and uh, and this is actually one of the first foreign films I've seen in theaters. I saw a
Yeah,
French
it's the
film.
first one I've seen in theaters. Yeah.
I've seen a
hmm
French film on Netflix about a girl who goes to a veterinarian school and becomes a cannibal or something like that. I've seen that on Netflix, um, but in an actual theater environment, I have not seen anything like that. So coming into this, I was kind of excited to see what we would get ourselves into. But yeah, this movie's fucking badass. Like Godzilla, like without getting into spoilers, we'll get into it later. But there's scenes in this film where it showcases his powers very well, and this is not a movie for the faint of heart. If you're a very easily tearful person, this movie's gonna make you cry. Like it's going to, and that's just credit to the director and The writer, I think it was the same person. The director also wrote the movie.
Hmm.
The
Yep.
characters, they were very likable, and you cared about them, and um, they were acted very well, and it's just usually, like you said, in other kaiju movies, there's people that you're just like, just get stomped on, dude. Just please die. Certain things like that. So,
Yep.
um, to finally get a movie where you don't want a single person to die and you actually care about them and you're actually listening very intently to what they're saying, it's a very nice change of pace. And I do know that other Godzilla films, there's always been, oh, there's too much Godzilla, not enough human. Oh, there's too much human and not enough Godzilla. I think this movie balances it very well between Godzilla. Like, we get enough cool Godzilla scenes, but we also get a lot of good human interaction, just well written scenes. And I think this is, that's what this movie does so well. And yeah, I'm 100% with you. This movie was incredible, really badass. Godzilla was just destroying shit, and it was very enjoyable watch, and I liked it a lot. This is one of those films that might sneak its way into the top 10, but we'll see. That's for later down the road.
Yeah.
Later in December, we'll have a top 10 movies
Hmm.
of 2023. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. So getting past all that, this is now the spoiler section of the review. So if you haven't watched it, please skip to the end where we give our full ratings. Um,
Hmm.
Now, can we talk about the city scene? That the first scene that we see Godzilla displaying his powers. Um,
Yeah.
Now, actually, wait. Before we get into that, let's just go into the full story synopsis. So, it's about
Yep.
it takes place during World War II, and it's about a
Yeah.
kamikaze
Right after
pilot
World War II.
right after World War II, or at the end of it, rather, of a kamikaze pilot
Hmm.
who really didn't fulfill his job of a kamikaze pilot. So the job of a kamikaze pilot is you sign up to die, basically. If you sign up as a kamikaze pilot, you die for the cause. If you live, you're considered a coward, a traitor, all that stuff. So this this pilot says his plane is faulty, and he pulls off to this island with all these mechanics and engineers to fix his plane when there's nothing wrong with it. So basically, he was a coward. He was a traitor for the army. And this is where we see our first encounter of Godzilla on the island. And Godzilla, he's not as big. He's still kind of a little bit of a baby. So
Hmm.
we see Godzilla for the first time just a couple minutes into the movie, so that was really good. Sets the tone, and then this leads to our main protagonist. I'm sorry, I don't remember the names of most of the people because you're
Yeah.
reading the
I was gonna
subtitles.
say I'm not even gonna try
Yeah,
because I will butcher the names. So
yeah. So, but
just know that all the characters are great in the
yeah,
movie.
they are great.
Yeah.
Um, so it's not just because the characters are terrible and we're just like, we're not gonna remember your names or anything. And it's just it's just hard reading the subtitles and trying to remember names and all that stuff. So he gets back to his town and he sees that his house is leveled. The entire city is leveled, or village rather. And his parents have
Hmm.
died, and people, and I guess this friend of the family, I believe, he called him a coward and basically was really mad at him. And so this leads like a self-discovery journey of him trying to deal with the guilt of um, not fulfilling his duty and not shooting the plane gun at Godzilla when he was attacking the island, and all the engineers that died during that. He's dealing with the guilt, and so this is like a kind of a self journey type thing for him. And then we finally get
Hmm.
to where he meets this woman, I guess homeless woman in the village,
Yep.
and takes her in, and they start, getting acquainted. And she has a little girl with them. So basically, it's like a little makeshift family in this, ridden
Hmm.
down house built out of parts from the broken home that he came back to, which is really sad, right? and that's where you
Hmm.
get that
And that's
foundation.
yeah, and like just talking about the story, that's the thing that made this movie that was so well done in this movie was that all the characters felt real, and that's what made the emotional moments hit so much because they felt like real characters. They didn't feel like actors, which was it shows also too how good of a job they did with their acting.
Yeah,
It it felt like real human characters, which, like I said earlier, what was missing in past Godzilla films, the American ones. So that's what outside of the Godzilla stuff, that's what got you so invested in the story was how real the characters felt.
yeah, exactly. And we have this like nice little scene and of where he sees that the woman is feeding the baby, and he basically gets a job as a seaman who they basically they drive in a wooden boat because the mines are attached. Met, they like metal, so they just go right to metal boats and blow them up. So he's on a wooden boat,
Hmm.
and they're destroying mines and stuff like that. And this leads to their next encounter with Godzilla, and they're trying to kill him along with not kill him, but they're trying to distract him so that the main big boat can come in and finish the job.
Hmm.
And that was a really well done scene, by the way. And so they get through all that.
That I say that was the because to open the movie, you see Godzilla,
Right,
but he's not fully grown yet.
right.
He's like a baby version, and even that Godzilla was intimidating. But the first time you see him full size, like the real Godzilla, um, was when he comes up out of the water. And that scene, there's multiple scenes, but that scene is a really good. How it's shot just shows you how small we are compared to Godzilla,
Yeah,
and how small that wooden boat was, which makes it makes Godzilla intimidating, and it makes you root for the characters because you see how outmatched they are just from him coming out of the water. He hasn't even done anything yet, but you just see how outmatched they are.
yeah. And the cool thing is like and there's like close up shots of his mouth like coming out of the water and like starting trying to chomp at him, and it,
Hmm.
it looked practical. Like it looked like full on, like it wasn't CGI. It looked like they had like someone's hand like in like a Godzilla mouth puppet, and they were just like putting it against the water, like or something like
Yeah.
that. But it looked cool. It wasn't like cheesy crap or whatever, but it looked cool.
Hmm.
And so yeah, they get through that. They supposedly harm Godzilla, right? But you can't kill Godzilla, right? He regenerates, whatever. But they don't know that. So um, he actually destroys the boat with the lightning beam thing that he does, and then he runs away, and then our main
Yeah.
character guy passes out and wakes up in a hospital, and so this leads to him finally coming out to the girl that he lives with, and because he never opened up to her, he never did any of this, and he finally opens up to her in a very very good scene. And then that leads to because she tells him about a job that he got or she got in a neighboring city, and so it takes us to that neighboring city where um, he's in like the living room with the little girl,
Hmm.
and he hears that Godzilla is approaching that same city that she works in, and it
Yeah.
leads to this incredible, like when I mention like they do Godzilla's powers really really well. This is what I'm talking about. So it shows Godzilla coming into the city, and the girl is in the train going to her work, I suppose, or coming back from work. I don't remember exactly because it looked like late afternoon to me. But
Hmm.
how about you tell us what happens in this scene, because incredible stuff
Well,
happens.
well, I was gonna say before that scene, what I thought the storytelling was really well done
Mm-hmm.
because before that scene, which eventually leads to her death or what he thinks is her death, is that scene, like you said, where he opens up about him having survivor's guilt of
Right.
not backing out and lying about his plane. And so that moment, that's the first moment where they open up to each other and they start to. I wouldn't say bond, but she like comforts him, and you can tell that it was a big moment for him opening up. And then right after that, that's when they hit you with the Godzilla destruction and her death of what he thinks is her death. So I thought that was really well done. How it was almost like it was like a punch in the gut because you just got that emotional, satisfying scene of them talking, and then you then right after that, you think that she's dead.
Yeah, you care about
So
this
it's like
girl?
it almost feels like this guy can't win,
You care about this girl?
huh?
Yeah, she's gonna die. Ha! Type thing. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It almost makes you feel like he can't win or like nobody can win kind of thing. Just
Mhm.
when you think he's starting to get better by opening up, then that happens. But yeah, that scene in particular when Godzilla does the atomic breath, where his tail, I just how it was shot too, about how it was just a slow build up of like the bottom of his tail lighting up blue, and then just slowly building up to
Yes.
eventually him doing the atomic breath. Man, like, and that's another thing. Like the American Godzilla films, he does the atomic breath, but it's more like a small laser beam that like takes out one building. Like it's not it
Yeah.
it the way it was shot here though. Our theater shook when he shot the atomic breath because it hit and then everything went silent and then it was the blowback of the power of it. That's what caused the real damage. That was possibly as far as like the action and stuff. That was probably my favorite scene in the whole movie.
Yeah, because it showcased his powers, right? And it
Hmm.
was devastating. Like it destroyed buildings, it destroyed people, it destroyed the main characters. At that point they didn't really know if they loved each other. They might love each other. That it doesn't really classify. I think they do, but um,
I think it does.
yeah.
I think it does because it's one of those things where, um, like later on in the movie, uh,
I wish I would have
one of his
married her
friends,
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
one of his friends asked her why didn't he marry her, and it's part of his guilt kind of
Mhm.
thing, being like he feels like he shouldn't be alive right now. That's what he feels like.
Yeah. And
That
it's
pretty
just
much he's like he like cheated death kind of thing.
and it's just another way of it being written so well.
Hmm.
And we get through that part, just devastation, right? And he's dealing with her death at that point,
Hmm.
and he's really sad about it. And then he realized, yeah, I'm gonna fuck Godzilla up, and he's like on this revenge, like he's like Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet, just going straight at Godzilla, like he's gonna destroy him. So he's going on this revenge tour, right? And he's like, well, his scientist friend, the one he worked on the boat with, he devises his plan, and all the ex Navy vets get together like privately because
Hmm.
the government's being secret. They don't want to tell the public and cause mass hysteria, so they're not going to deal with Godzilla, and no one wants to deal with him because he's just big and bad, and he's just it's like, how are you going to deal with Godzilla? So they all get together in a private thing, and they devise a plan to get it done. And they devise this plan, whatever, and eventually our main character says, I have to finish what I signed up for. I have to kamikaze into Godzilla. And
Hmm.
so he brings the engineer that survived on the island that hates his
Hmm.
guts because he, you know, again, didn't do his duty.
Hmm.
And he begs him to come help him build this plane so that he can do what he set out to do. And that leads to the main ending, um, where they bring Godzilla and they devise the plan, the Freon thing. They drag him down, and then they realized, oh shit, that's not working. So they try bringing him up, and it freezes him. But when they bring him up to the surface, um, he like starts freezing up, but he's still getting the atomic blast out. And then
Hmm.
that's when the main protagonist in his plane, because right, he's the whole plan was for him to get Godzilla from one point to the deepest part
Hmm.
of the ocean that surrounded Tokyo. So they
Hmm.
get him there, and he blows up his entire like face, right?
Hmm.
And that causes Godzilla to erode and kill Godzilla. And
Hmm.
so, and then we come to find out that his little love interest survives, right?
Hmm.
Because
Well, I was gonna say too. Well, he he kamikaze into Godzilla,
mhm,
but then it shows that he ejected out of the plane,
yeah,
which was from he has a conversation with the mechanic from the start of the movie that hates him. He has a conversation with him about how for the first time in a long time he wants to live, which was part of his arc about bonding more and more with the little girl who pretty much has become his daughter. I mean, like they found her when she was just a little baby.
yeah,
So he says that he finally wants to live, and so it cuts away, but then you cut back and you see the full scene where he builds in an eject, which usually isn't on one of those planes. He builds in an eject seat, so that's what he used the eject seat, and he survives.
yes, yeah. So he
Yep.
doesn't die. I should have clarified
Yep.
that he
Yeah.
doesn't die. And then when they land back, apparently his family friend that was taking care of, I think it was Akira. I think that was the daughter's name or whatever, the little girl's name that was taking care of her. Um, she gets a telegram that his love interest is alive. So he gets a telegram, and with the daughter, they go into the room and they break down in tears. And then we see Godzilla's floaty bits sinking and regenerating,
Hmm.
and that's how the movie ends. Again,
Yep.
um, and so yeah, that's the movie. And
Yeah.
again,
And another thing too, we didn't touch on it in the non spoiler section, but the score of this movie was great.
yes, it
Like
was.
there's a lot of this epic score, but also too there was a couple of times where they played the Godzilla theme,
Hmm.
like the original theme. They did that a couple of times, kind of paying homage to the past films. But yeah, overall though, it was cool having the moments with the Godzilla theme, but the score overall was great.
It was, it was. And so all that put together, right? We think it's amazing, incredible,
Yeah, I
badass.
was gonna say, do you have any like negatives or nitpicks with the
I
movie?
I would say it's one nitpick, but I do think I felt the length maybe a little
Hmm.
bit. I mean, it was only 2 hours, but it felt like 3 hours to me at
Yeah,
some points.
there I can agree with that. There was it was when they were coming up with the plan
hmm
to how to kill Godzilla, and like the build up to that, we were having character moments. They were great moments, but I definitely can understand that like it's starting. Okay, you know we're building to the final act in the last battle against Godzilla, and it took a little bit to get there,
hmm
which I understand. Like you said, you're trying to build up character moments and stuff, and them figuring out what to do. But yeah, I can definitely see why it dragged a little bit for you there, right there.
Yeah, and like I mean that's literally like a slight nitpick because
Mm,
I don't really see anything bad with this movie. Like I don't see any
no.
flaws. And that's incredible to me. Like a movie without flaws, like I don't think I've ever really had that before. Right? I didn't find anything negative in the film. So
Mhm.
with all that,
Yeah, I mean, like it the payoff was really good, but I mean, like if I had a nitpick with that atomic breath and what we see happen to her, I don't think there is a way that she survived that. Just
I
how
mean,
much destruction there was,
to be fair,
but
she had like
it
bandages on
it
her
was such
face.
such an emotional payoff though, and like his reaction to seeing that she's alive,
Hmm.
that I kind of just let it go and forgave it. I was like, oh whatever. I was like, it was an awesome moment at the
Yeah,
end of the movie.
yeah. You would think that she got disintegrated, like like
Yeah,
skin off the
yeah, that's
bone.
what.
You know, like
But you kind of let it go. You're like, whatever. You're like, I was already, the movie was already so great that I just let it go. I was like, whatever.
I was like yeah. Um, but yeah, with all that being said, you want to give a rating? So we can give it. Um, you can go first if you want to. You know, it's up to you.
I'm gonna go, man. It's tough. I've been back and forth between 4.5 and 5 out of 5. I have like little tiny nitpicks, but it's stuff that I let go. So I'm gonna go ahead and go 5 out of 5 for this movie.
5 out of 5. Well, that's crazy because I'm going 5 out of 5 too. This is a double 10 out of 10 for our first movie review. How about that? Yeah, this movie is incredible. If you guys haven't seen it, if you skipped the whole spoiler free section, which was only like a minute and a half, so yeah, enjoy that minute and a half. Why don't you? But if you skipped all the way through that and got to the rating, yeah, 10 out of 10. Go watch it, please. Actually, I don't know if by the time I release this video, I don't know if you'll be able to get a showtime because there's limited release type
Well,
thing.
I just saw after we saw the movie, I just saw that I heard a report that they're apparently going to extend the theatrical run in the U.S. because of how well it's doing.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's the tweet that you sent me. Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got time. So yeah, go watch it, please. It's awesome. Like I can't say any other good stuff about it. But yeah, 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, whatever you prefer rating it.
Hmm.
But yeah. So we enjoyed it. If you guys watched the movie and you want to leave your thoughts and comments down below, please do. And yeah, Jacob, anything else you want to add? I see that you got something on the tip of your tongue here that you want
No,
to
I
add.
was going to say it. I would say it would say it's gotten me excited for the Godzilla X Kong. I don't know Godzilla and Kong, Godzilla X Kong. I don't know what
Yeah,
exactly
it's
what
like
you
the new
supposed to call the
Empire.
title.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the next Godzilla and Kong movie, I would say it's gotten me excited, but it's may have like brought my excitement down
Like,
because I'm
how is
like,
that going to touch it?
yeah, like man, like they I unless the movie's amazing, we'll see. I'm always you got to be open minded. When unless the movie's amazing, they might as well just scrap it and start over after after this has been out
Yeah,
because I don't know how they're gonna top it.
they got to get that director in the right.
Yeah,
Just scrap the entire movie
and
and push it back 2 years, and then get
the
him in here.
the director, um, he's apparently like the reason he wanted to start directing. It's Takashi Yamazaki. Takashi Yamazaki.
Hmm.
Um, apparently, what made him want to start directing was the original Star Wars trilogy, and his like on his bucket list is to make a Star Wars film. And after seeing this, I'm like, yeah, Disney, go ahead and give him a call
Yeah,
because
throw.
if an original Star Wars film can be as good as this, then it'll be awesome.
Yeah, throw the wheelbarrow of cash his way. Just give it all to him. Because if
Yeah,
the stuff that we saw from Godzilla in this movie, if we can see that in Star Wars battles, God, imagine! Like I would be a Star Wars fan just watching that movie. I'm not a big Star Wars guy, but if you make if he does something and I go watch it and I think it's incredible, I'm gonna love Star Wars. I think just that
yeah.
one movie.
Well, it's like you've never seen tonight. Tonight was your first Godzilla film.
Yeah,
I haven't seen a lot of Godzilla movies. I've never been a big Godzilla fan, and after seeing this, I'm like, can this director make like a sequel? Like that was.
I mean, it looks like they're
I'm
making
ready
a
to see another
sequel.
one.
It looks like they're making another
Yeah,
one
with how it ends. Yeah,
without it in.
yeah.
So I mean, I'm down. I'll watch it, bro. That was incredible.
Hmm.
So I mean, we've run out of words how to describe it. So please go watch it. And again, leave your thoughts down
Yeah.
below as to what you think about this movie and if you agree with us or not. So yeah, that's gonna do it for us here at Slash Superheroes. Again, follow us on our links down below. Follow us on our new Twitter. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. And yeah, I'm Cameron. This is Jacob, and we will see y'all on the next video. Bye, y'all.